What if the moments you've fallen the hardest, those times of failure, betrayal, or despair, were orchestrated by an unseen hand, not to break you, but to lift you higher than you've ever been? Imagine a God who allows the fall, not out of cruelty, but with a divine riddle in mind, where every stumble is a setup for a greater rise. The Bible is filled with stories of those who fell, Peter's denial, Job's losses, and even Jesus' anguish, only to be lifted by God's unseen hand to fulfill a purpose beyond their imagination. If you've ever wondered why life's hardest falls seem to lead to unexpected heights, this journey through Scripture will captivate your spirit and unravel the divine riddle behind your struggles. Let's explore why God lets you fall, to lift you higher. Peter's story in Luke 22:31-34 and John 21:15-19 is a striking example. Jesus warns, "Simon, Simon, Satan has asked to sift all of you as wheat, but I have prayed for you, that your faith may not fail." Luke 22:31-32. Peter boasts he'll never deny Jesus, yet that night he falls, denying him 3 times. Luke 22:54-62. He weeps bitterly, broken by his failure, but the unseen hand is at work. After the resurrection, Jesus restores Peter, asking 3 times, "Do you love me?" John 21:15-17, and commissions him, "Feed my sheep." Peter rises, leading the early church, Acts 2. His fall preparing him for leadership. His story reveals that God lets us fall to strip pride, then lifts us to serve his purpose. Job's life in Job 1-42 further unveils this riddle. Satan challenges Job's faith, and God allows immense loss, his wealth, children, and health. Job cries, "Why did I not perish at birth?" Job 3:11, sitting in ashes, scraping sores. Yet the unseen hand moves. In Job 42:10, the Lord restored his fortunes and gave him twice as much as he had before, granting new children and a long life. Job 42:16. Job 42:5 reflects his rise. "My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you." Job's fall, grief, and affliction lifts him to deeper faith and double blessing, showing that God's unseen hand uses loss to reveal his presence. The story of Joseph in Genesis 37-50 also illustrates this divine pattern. Sold into slavery by his brothers, Joseph falls further when falsely accused and imprisoned, Genesis 39. Yet, Genesis 39:21 notes, "The Lord was with Joseph." The unseen hand lifts him in Genesis 41, as he becomes Egypt's governor, saving nations from famine. Facing his brothers, he says, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Genesis 50:20. Joseph's fall, betrayal, and hardship positions him for a rise that saves lives, proving God's unseen hand turns evil into good. The Samaritan woman in John 4:1-42 experiences a fall of shame. With 5 husbands and living with another man, she's an outcast, fetching water at noon to avoid others. Jesus meets her, revealing, "I am the Messiah," John 4:26, and her shame becomes a testimony. She tells her town, "Come, see a man who told me everything I ever did," John 4:29, and many believe. Her fall, social rejection, lifts her as an evangelist, showing that God's unseen hand uses brokenness to spread his truth. Jesus' own journey in Matthew 26-28 is the ultimate riddle. In Gethsemane, he prays, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me." Matthew 26:39, facing the fall of crucifixion. On the cross, he cries, "My God, why have you forsaken me?" Matthew 27:46. Yet, The unseen hand lifts him. Matthew 28:6 declares, "He has risen." His fall, death, leads to the rise of salvation, fulfilling Acts 4:12. Salvation is found in no one else. Jesus' story assures us that even the deepest fall serves God's redemptive plan. Why does God let us fall? First, to humble us. James 4:10 says, "Humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will lift you up." Second, to strengthen us. Romans 5:3-4 notes, "Suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character." Third, to reposition us. Psalm 37:23-24 promises, "Though he may stumble, he will not fall. For the Lord upholds him." The unseen hand ensures every fall has a purpose. How do we trust this hand? First, surrender control. Proverbs 3:5-6 urges, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart." Second, seek his lessons. James 1:5 says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God." Third, wait patiently. Isaiah 40:31 promises, "Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength." Finally, praise in the fall. Psalm 34:1 says, "I will extol the Lord at all times." What does this mean for you? Your fall isn't the end. God's lifting you higher. If you're a believer, encourage others in their falls. Here's a challenge. This week, reflect on a fall. Pray read John 21 and thank God for his unseen hand. Take action. Support someone struggling or journal your insights. If you're lost, seek a mentor. Don't rise alone. Let's close with 1 Peter 5:10. "The God of all grace, after you have suffered a little while, will himself restore you and make you strong." The unseen hand lets you fall to lift you higher. Trust the divine riddle and rise in his plan.
Subscribe and turn on notifications for inspiring Bible stories and faith-filled wisdom. Comment below. How did this story touch you? Your words can inspire others. Share this video to spread God's hope. Stay tuned for more soul-stirring truths and keep trusting as God's love leads you.